Well, thank you very much. And yes, welcome to everyone who's participating today. This is a very exciting time. An OP review is something that today we're doing it, and 10 years from now, we still will be taking a look at what vision we had to look at our community and to have an understanding of where today at 30 some odd thousand people, we will be probably 70 or 80,000 people. So I know it ever evolves, but it really is a visioning time for all of us to see what East Gwillimbury will be in the future. So thank you to our consultants for putting it together. Thank you to staff. I appreciate it very much. And thank you to our developers who have invested in East Gwillimbury, and we're really pleased and glad that you have. So with that, I'll turn it back to, I guess it's Marco.
Thank you. Yeah, there you go, Marco. Over to you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. No, I just wanted to, I know we're in the interest of time, I just wanted to welcome everybody. This is our second session. Today we had a 9:30. It's a similar session. We had a great turnout this morning, close to 40 people, and I think we're looking at matching that this afternoon as well. So looking forward to the presentation. We've got a great team organized with Donna and Ron Palmer and all the rest of their team. Adam Robb is our senior planner who's managing the project at our end. And I know we have a number of other town staff listening in, and I don't see any other councillors online, but I think we're expecting a few of them. I see some callers who are calling in. I don't see any names, but we look forward to everybody's input. And this is our kickoff consultation meeting. There's more to come throughout 2021. So at this point, thanks everybody. I'll turn it over to well, before Donna and Ron, Tom, if you want to say a few things, I'll turn it over to Tom, and then we can turn it over to Donna and Ron to start the presentation. Go ahead, Tom.
Thanks, Marco.
Actually, I have nothing to add, Marco. You guys have done a bang-up job. I'm looking forward to the session. It was a good one this morning, so these input sessions are all good. So
awesome.
Feel free to proceed. Thank you.
Okay, thanks so much. So we are really looking forward to this conversation. I want to start by saying I really appreciate everybody's tolerance in using this kind of platform. We all are looking forward to the days we can meet face to face again. So thank you very much for logging in and putting up with all the technology. As I mentioned, we are recording the entire session. It'll be posted to the project webpage. You're welcome to communicate in the chat box as well, and that also becomes part of the record of the meeting. We've got the session set up so that Ron is going to make a brief presentation, then we're going to save as much time as we can for conversation at the end. I am going to ask everyone to turn off their mics and their cameras, unless you're speaking or presenting, and that just helps with the background noise and some of the bandwidth. So I do see a mic on for someone from the Larendale group. So if you could take a minute and just turn off your mic because we're hearing some background. So if everybody can turn off their mics or mute their phone. At the end of the presentation, we will open it up for a conversation, and I'm going to go through my list of participants that are listed. This is part of the challenges of this great platform. I am going to go through my list of participants that are listed in alphabetical order by first name, and I'll call people out in groups of 3 to see if you have any questions that you'd like to, or comments that you'd like to share with the group. My name is Donna Hind. I'm a partner at the Planning Partnership, and I'm helping the team with anything related to consultation, communications, or engagement. Just before we go on, Ron, I see Tara that's listed on my thing, Tara RD, and looks like your mic is on. So if you can turn off your mic, that would be great. And okay. So Ron, can you introduce yourself and get us started?
Sure. I'm Ron Palmer. Who's talking?
I think I'm going to ask Marco
Don-
if
Donna, yeah, I think it sounds like it's Bobby.
Bobby. So
Someone's got their mic on, one of the callers using their phone.
does anybody know Bobby that could just text him?
I just did.
Okay.
Let's hope.
Okay. So let's just hope he's going because I
Sorry
can't
about
do it. I can't do it from my end.
Okay.
Okay. So Ron, you just have to just talk over Bobby.
It doesn't usually go that way with Bobby. It's usually the other way around. But
You
I'm
know
Ron
what?
Palmer.
You know what I'm going to do, and Marco, you could just send Bobby another text message. I'm going to dismiss him, and then he can
Yes,
call
please.
back in.
You can dismiss me.
There we go. Yes. Okay. There you go. There you go, Ron.
Okay. I'm Ron Palmer.
Oh my goodness, he's still
No, it's not.
still on. Okay. Yeah, I am. I can't. I have dismissed him, so that is the extent of my. Oh, caller two. Somebody's just at. Caller two. Sorry.
What I would like is to take our
I
share.
don't see a caller two on my list.
That's definitely Bobby's voice. Donna.
Yeah. That's called caller two. Okay. Sorry, Ron. We'll just have to talk over. There you go.
So I'm Ron Palmer and I'm a partner at the Planning Partnership. My job here is I'm the project manager and the principal planner on the project. I'm going to be overseeing all aspects of the work over the next year or so. Put on the first slide. So today I have a brief presentation and I'm going to deal with the first 7 items on the outline. I'm not going to spend a lot of time. This is the very beginning of our work, and it's a great opportunity to hear from the public and other stakeholders to get a sense of what people are thinking, and that helps us direct our work as we work through the process. At the end, as Donna mentioned, we're going to do a workshop activity, and everyone will get a chance to provide their commentary and tell us whatever you think you'd like us to hear as we embark on this great project. Just to set the stage, an official plan is a document prepared by the municipality, approved by the region, that sets a vision for the community, and I think the mayor said that very well. This is about the next 3 decades to the year 2051. And it's an important document that will talk about how the municipality, how the various communities are going to grow over time. It does prepare us for the use of other planning tools like the zoning bylaw and site plan approval. And it also has other requirements from other levels of government that we will be dealing with. I'm going to talk about that now. This is the official plan scheduled today. Most of what is green and what is brown, the green belt and the Oak Ridges Moraine, is not expected to change in any dramatic way. You will see that Mount Albert, within their settlement area boundary, has designations that promote its full build out over time by the year 2031. And then in the larger urban area that includes Queensville, Holland Landing, Green Lane, and Sharon, there are areas that are as yet unidentified for growth. And certainly that is part of what we're doing in this process. Next slide. Your current official plan was adopted in June of 2010, and it's now 10 years old. And the Planning Act requires a municipality to review their official plan at a minimum every 10 years. So the time is right to begin this work. The town, thanks to them, retained the planning partnership and our larger team back at the end of July of this summer. I say team because our team has a host of other consultants that are very important to this work. And while I'm the overall project manager and Donna is dealing with all things consultation, a really important part of our work is a land needs assessment. And that work is being led by Mark Conway of Enbury Lions. And he's got lots of experience and is working with the rest of the team and will be doing a great job on that. In addition, I have other sub-consultants who are helping me, and I have an advisory team of specialist consultants that will be providing us advice as we go through the process. I have Nick McDonald from Meridian Planning Consultants who will be helping me with policy development. As I mentioned, we have NBLC, Enbury Lions, who are responsible primarily for the land needs assessment and market assessment. They're being assisted by Urban Metrics, who will be doing a commercial strategy review. And Planet Geographical are our GIS experts who are going to make the maps look fantastic. My advisory team include Colville, and they're providing advice on matters related to agriculture. I have Palmer Environmental, who are providing advice on the natural heritage system. I have SES Consulting, who are helping me with matters related to municipal infrastructure, and BA Group, who are providing advice on the transportation network. In terms of our work program, we have begun. The land needs assessment has begun, and the consultation component of the work has begun. We expect that the land needs assessment work will be primarily finished by the end of this year. Following that, the official plan will kick into high gear. We have a 4-phase program, and we expect to be done around this time next year. So a 1-year delivery schedule. This is not the only time we will be seeking advice from the public and from other stakeholders. We are dealing with council all the way through the process, and there will be additional community workshops and opportunities to provide your commentary on the work in progress as we work through the various phases of the work. Of course, at the end, there is a statutory public open house, public meeting, and ending with a council presentation looking for adoption. As I mentioned earlier, the town is not alone in planning the future of East Gwillimbury. We certainly are required to implement an array of provincial policy, starting with the Planning Act. There are other pieces of legislation that we are also looking to implement through the official plan, things like the Heritage Act and the Municipal Act as examples. Of course, East Gwillimbury is part of the Greater Golden Horseshoe, and we have to work with and we have to conform with the growth plan for the Greater Golden Horseshoe, which was last updated earlier this year. And that amendment took the planning horizon out to 2051 and provided substantial additional growth to York Region. We are also required to be consistent with the provincial policy statement. And again, like most provincial pieces of policy or legislation, it has been recently amended, and we will need to deal with all the changes to that document as we go forward. What all of this really means is that your official plan, being from 2010, has not really dealt with any of these new directions from the province. It has been an incremental change over time, but we have a host of new policy directions and priorities that we need to work through in this new document. Not only do we have the province helping us, we have the region helping us. And the region is the approval authority for this official plan. And it is required that this official plan for East Gwillimbury conform to the Region of York official plan. Importantly, the region is currently undertaking a municipal comprehensive review. And part of that work is to take the new population and employment projections provided by the growth plan and allocate them to each of the constituent municipalities in the region. The municipal comprehensive review will deal with a host of growth management issues, things like greenfield densities, intensification targets, settlement area boundary expansions, employment area conversions, and there's a host of other things that are going to be dealt with in the municipal comprehensive review, which will then form the basis for an update to the Region of York official plan. So lots of things are in play. Lots of things are moving forward at the same time as this official plan review. Next slide. Not only is there a lot of work being done through the provincial arms of the government and the regional elements that are fundamental to East Gwillimbury, East Gwillimbury itself has documents that we need to have reference to and implement through this plan. Importantly, the strategic plan is an important starting point for us. It is what we call a foundational study because it really tells us council's priorities over the next little while. Concurrent to this work on the official plan, I've already mentioned the land needs assessment, which is part of the new official plan, but the municipality is also updating the transportation master plan, the service infrastructure master plan, and the development charges bylaw. What that all means is that when we are finished this official plan, the town will have a full set of documents that are both linked to and up to date with the new official plan, which is a great situation to be in, keeping in mind the importance of transportation and service infrastructure in facilitating growth in this municipality. The strategic plan does identify a number of priorities, talks about responsible growth and the protection of the natural environment, the high quality of programs and services that the municipality continues to provide, the idea of a complete community here in East Gwillimbury, and of course, always overarching is the culture of municipal excellence that is necessary to carry forward as we work through this process. Our job is to develop a new official plan that meets the expectations of municipal excellence. And that is what we will do.
Thanks, Ron. I am hearing some background. I don't see an active mic on my list. I think it's somebody who's calling in on their cell phone. And I'm going to ask again to mute your phones and turn off your mics. I think that was it. So that's terrific. So we're on now to the part of the conversation that we want to have with everybody on the call. The purpose of this session is to generate some words and phrases that will give the team some input to crafting the vision and guiding principles. The vision and guiding principles, as most people on the call probably know, form the foundation of the new official plan and are very important for influencing the policies that will be developed over the next several months. We've had some conversations already And some of the conversations have revealed to us a number of topics that we wanted to use to frame the conversation today. And the topics are on the screen, the 6 topics of growth management, environmental sustainability. There's that phone again. Again, one more plea to have people mute their phones, their cell phones. Conversations around infrastructure, main streets, housing and employment, and institutional uses. From some of the conversations that we've had already, we've come to understand that there's an interest in growth being responsible, in having well-designed and complete communities. I'm also going to ask people to turn, there we go, well-designed and complete communities. There's an interest in building out the White Belt. There's an interest in making sure that growth and infrastructure and community facilities are all linked together. In terms of environment, sustainability, and healthy communities, we've heard about an interest to be leading edge when it comes to sustainability, to responding to climate change, to expanding trails and active transportation links, and to explore green building design. Lots of people have talked to us about infrastructure as being key to phasing growth, the need for long-term servicing investments, and the interest in promoting green infrastructure. We talked a lot about main streets. People have talked to us about making sure that there's an appropriate evolution to the evolution of those main streets so that they continue to be successful, that policy focus on the unique character of each of the urban centers, and that there was specific conversation about Holland Landing and the interest in that main street being improved. In terms of housing, people were interested in the community becoming more diverse, wider range of housing options, more opportunities for rental and affordable housing, and more medium and high density. So for this afternoon's conversation, I'm just putting back up those 6 topics. I'm going to go down through my list in clusters of 3. Like I mentioned, they're in alphabetical order by the first name, and I'll ask you in groups of 3 to turn your mic and your camera on if you'd like. We're going to be taking notes over the conversation. Meeting's being recorded, so there'll be a full record, and we'll report out at the end of the meeting of some of the common themes that we're hearing in the conversation. So we've got lots of time set aside. So I'm going to start with my list, and the first 3 on my list are Adolfo, Bobby, and Laura Lee Crothers. So Adolfo, if I don't see you putting your mic on, I'll assume that you're on the meeting to listen. So there you go, you're up. Adolfo, if you want to share your ideas with respect to any one of these topics or anything else.
Yeah, so I guess my perspective, as many on the call might know, is related to infrastructure. And I think it's having some history in the town and knowing some of the things that have historically maybe constrained the town. I think infrastructure and I guess the strategic use of that infrastructure and the expansion of that infrastructure is probably one of the key things that I would add.
Okay.
I'll let Bobby talk now.
Okay. Thank you.
Actually, the only one that I really was going to talk about is talking about housing.
Yeah.
And with what's happening out there, we finding that high-rise buildings are not what people are really wanting to live in.
Okay.
And is that going to be a problem for us when you guys are doing your growth plan? Or what you're going to designate which area for what growth, or is it going to be flexibility if the market doesn't change and people are afraid to get into elevators, etc.?
Yeah. Okay. You know what, Bobby, let me just get Ron to weigh in on that a little bit. Ron, can you just turn your mic on and just share some thoughts about that?
Well, in terms of, I don't know necessarily how we would define a high-rise building, but we can meet provincial and potentially regional density targets without necessarily requiring substantial high-rise buildings. So we'll be looking for opportunities to meet the requirements of provincial and regional policy, and that may or may not include high-rise development. However, the market changes over time. This is a 30-year planning horizon. So while we do need to recognize what the market wants today, we will also be planning for a future that may include a market that is different. So we don't know where we end up. We expect there'll be flexibility to meet density targets as they are expressed in the regional official plan and through the growth plan.
Okay, thanks, Ron. Anything else, Bobby, to share?
No, I think
Okay.
Ron kind of covered it off.
Okay, that's great. Thank you for that. Councillor Crothers, you're next up on my list. There you go.
I'm just here to listen.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, next up, I think is Claudio, and then Chris, and then Choo Choo. Claudio? Or Chris? Or Choo Choo? There you go. Yep, go ahead.
Yeah, so I think on the housing subject,
Yep.
I think the word I wanted to explore is affordability and how you guys are thinking about either aiding it or how you think about tackling affordability or offering a wider product.
Okay, let me get Ron. So how we're aiding it or tackling it or accommodating it. Ron, what are you thinking?
Well, how much time would you like?
No.
Affordability, traditionally affordability in Ontario has been dealt with through the promotion of higher density and smaller units, which was back in the day called intrinsic affordability. And that, some will argue, has not worked particularly well in actually delivering certain elements of the affordable housing spectrum. So the province today has introduced the very first planning tool that is a direct facilitator of affordable housing, and that's called inclusionary zoning. The way inclusionary zoning is dealt with in an official plan is that we simply have to provide empowering policy that allows the municipality to use it. And typically, the use of that tool would be subsequent to an understanding of the local market realities and the ability to deliver affordable housing in a reasonable way. So absolutely, we'll be talking about inclusionary zoning in the official plan, but how it actually gets used and how it actually delivers affordable housing still requires some carefulness in how it's implemented. So we're going to be having lots of wording about how affordable housing may be delivered, what the municipal role in the delivery of that might be, and empowering the municipality at some point to use.
Okay. So next up on my list, I've got Dave, Hasek, and Jack. So just take a minute and see if you. So it's Dave, Layton, Hasek, and Jack. Yep, there you go, Jack. Go ahead. Maybe we'll come back to Jack if you're having problems with the mic. So I'm going to go down to John, and then I have.
Well, I'm there, I think.
Hi, John. Yep, there you are.
Hi.
All good.
Yes, thanks.
Yep.
Sorry, I had to step away for a minute, but just looking at the historic main streets. I live in Holland Landing.
Okay.
And I think it's very hard when you have private homes and individuals living there. Is there any insight into having this Main Street of Holland Landing designated for commercial uses like offices and private enterprise. I think that would sort of help to enhance that area of the village. Is there any chance? I know in Sharon, I've looked at the official plan and zoning, and you can have commercial establishments along Leslie Street in the main downtown core. Is this available to Holland Landing also?
Okay, let me get Ron. That's a perfect question for you to weigh in on.
Well, it is a good question. We don't yet what toolkit we would apply to Holland Landing, but certainly there has been an expressed desire to enhance a Main Street feel in Holland Landing. And of course, a Main Street includes a whole host of supportive land uses, including commercial, office, residential. So we'll be looking at all kinds of options as to how to facilitate that Main Street in Holland Landing.
Okay, thanks, Ron.
Thank you.
Thanks, John.
Thanks.
So I just have Larendale Group, but does anyone from Larendale Group? Or then I have Maggie O'Connor and Marnie Saunders. So anybody in that cluster? Okay, then I'm going to go down to Marshall Warren and Matthew Corey. There you go. Hi, Matthew. There you go. You're on. Oh, just need you test your mic. Yep. Is your mic working? Nope, mic's not working just yet. So maybe while Matthew gets queued up, I'm just going to see if Mohammed or Paul Bailey.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, and then I'll come back to you, Matthew. So Paul, do you want to share your thoughts?
Yes, just echoing the words of Adolfo Emmer earlier, infrastructure. Well, I said you can't build a house if you can't flush a toilet. So infrastructure has been a particularly difficult challenge for East Gwillimbury, as we all know, still limited capacity. Okay. But the Upper York are an alternative solution, front and center, needs to be resolved now. Okay. In terms of housing, I think there is going to need to be, going forward, wider range of housing types that can appeal to broader income brackets, and more than just ground-related housing is going to have to be part of this new plan going forward. You mentioned, I think, Ron Palmer earlier, inclusionary.
Yep.
I would say tread very slowly and very carefully on that. I think that goes to the very great difficulty of land, and I don't think that's going to go away too easily right now. I just have a question also for, I don't know if it will get answered today, but I'm wondering what the interface is between York Region and these activities on the new official plan for East Gwillimbury. How those actions are going to be coordinated, what the path is. The East Gwillimbury is on a path, York Region's on another path with its MCR currently underway.
Yeah.
I just wonder what the coordination or cooperation might be.
Let me get Ron to just weigh in on that just a little bit.
Obviously, it's very important to coordinate with the Region of York. They are the approval authority, and they are today holding the allocation of growth in their control. It's our job through this process to provide the region with our best rationale for achieving the growth objectives of the municipality as they have been stated by the council. We anticipate that over the next 2 months, will be meeting with the region on a number of occasions to talk about growth potential of East Gwillimbury. And hopefully that links back to both the allocation of population and employment growth to achieve the potential of East Gwillimbury, but as has been stated a couple of times already, a commitment to build the infrastructure. Obviously, there's a gap today in how growth in East Gwillimbury has been managed and the ability to actually get infrastructure in the ground. So all of those things need to be linked together, and absolutely the region of York is an important part of this work.
Okay.
Okay, Donna, can you hear me?
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Let me just make sure. Paul, is that,
Sure.
are you good then, Paul? Any other?
Yeah, I'm good. I
Okay.
just brought that up, sort of thinking about what I sort of see as the tension between the region's activities and the town possibly, but that's it for me. So
Okay.
thank you.
Okay, thanks for that. Okay, Matthew, you're good to go.
Thanks, Donna. Sorry, I had headset troubles.
That's
And thank you, Donna and Ron, for having this. This is great. I guess just some quick thoughts, ideas. I'm the planner. We're representing the Sharon Heights Landowners Group, which are the landowners generally between Holland Landing, Sharon, and on the east side of Second Concession. So
Okay.
there's obviously an interest from that group to have their lands come into the settlement boundary, which is great to hear that the town's continued position is continue to have the whole white belt coming in. I guess in the vein of that group and the question on growth management, the historic planning obviously has been to have distinct communities separated by urban separators essentially, and that with the rest of the white belt coming in will have to be revisited. What are your thoughts in terms of the OP review side of things to look at how you're going to deal with those formerly intervening areas that will now become part of not just one, but maybe two of already planned communities that, in our case, it's Sharon and Queensville, as things progress?
Absolutely a good question. There is, and I've heard, a desire to have some form of character recognition among the various communities of Holland Landing, Sharon, Queensville, and even Green Lane as a community. And we don't know how to do that just yet. However, when I start looking at the map and squinting my eyes, we have a pretty good beginning utilizing the natural heritage system. And there may be a way to utilize the existing natural heritage system, expanding upon it to create urban separators of some form. We don't know exactly how that might manifest itself today, but absolutely it's something that's on our radar to try and achieve through this document.
Okay, and thank you for that, Ron. That's great. I can appreciate your trying to figure out where you're going to go with that, because I think we're all trying to figure that one out and happy to figure it out together. I guess the other thing, we're also looking at other pieces and helping other people in different parts of the town. And certainly there's a need to and a desire to expedite opportunities for rental or for affordable housing. Very much would like to know that that's a priority and a prioritization we could do. But I guess just lastly, really encourage you as you continue to do your work to look at the new land needs assessment methodology and just the opportunities available in a new growth plan, especially when comments are being given to the region as part of their MCR work, which I know they're working through a growth management report or study in the next few months. I think there's new opportunities that were never there before, not least of which are planning beyond the minimum targets of the growth plan and doing what needs to do to bring in even the whole white belt, if that was what was the town wanted to do. But I think more to the point I'm trying to make, there's more opportunities now to not be delimited by numbers-based planning and have a comprehensive view of this whole urban area as a whole, and continue the very good work the town's always done in trying to have a holistic outlook on that and sync the phasing and growth with the infrastructure, given the not small infrastructure challenges that have to be overcome. I think the certainty of growth helps a lot advance that conversation. So I'm sure you're focusing on that, but those are the key thoughts. Those are, I think, things that are very important to us as you continue through the OP review.
Okay.
In all of those commentary notes, absolutely. We're working towards an appropriate approach to growth management for East Gwillimbury. We have some direction from council, and we are fully cognizant of the change in focus on planning by numbers at the province.
Okay.
That's great. Thank you so much. And
Thanks,
I look forward to working through the whole thing. Thank you.
Great. Thanks, Matthew. I'm going to go back on my list. I can't recall. I think I called out Mohammed, Paul Bailey, and Paula Barbero. And I'm going to keep going down my list. I have Rosemary.
Nope. I think Paula wants to say something.
Oh, there you are, Paula. Go ahead. Hi,
I'm
Paula.
sorry if I didn't hear you
There you
earlier.
go.
Hi.
There you go.
Yes, I guess my comment would be that I would, or questions. You mentioned in your presentation that you've received comment. Who have you received the comments for? You didn't mention if they're citizens. Like, who are the? First of all, that was my first question. Who are the comments? Because this is the beginning of this process, so
Yeah,
obviously
that's correct. That's correct.
Derived elsewhere. So where was that derived and from whom?
I didn't hear the question.
So where are the comments? Where did we get those initial comments about what we've heard so far? Where did those?
Well, we've had a conversation with staff and with council.
Okay, so those are not residents' comments. Okay.
Correct. Yeah.
That's what I wanted to be clear.
That's what we're talking about today.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's why I wondered when it said we've received comments. I didn't know if it was from other processes with residents, etc. And I would be curious, what is ICLEI's involvement with the official plan, if any? I don't think that they were mentioned in anything.
Who?
And ICLEI Canada, are they involved in any way, shape, or form with the process?
I have never heard of ICLEI Canada.
What is that, an acronym?
It is an acronym. It's part of. You've never heard of ICLEI Canada?
Nope. Unless you tell me what it means.
What does it?
Yes, I can. I'd have to pull up the full. That comes from the United Nations, and official plans come down from them. So that's what I'm wondering, if they have any involvement directly in this.
Not in my experience. And this official plan is written under the auspices of the Ontario Planning Act, not the United Nations.
Yeah, because we are part of them, and they have Agenda 2030, which has a whole host and list of interests of how planning will go. So I'm wondering if that has been examined or looked at, and if that's part of how you plan on moving the plan forward.
Well, I had not put that on my list of things to consider. If you think that that's something that we should look at, please forward it along and we'll have a look.
Well, I'm just wondering if it is part of it, because Canada is part of the United Nations.
Well, I
and
think
they have.
Answered your question. No.
That's what I'm asking. If your plan and how much and to what extent are you trying to adhere to Agenda 2030?
Okay, so maybe,
if at all.
So maybe just Ron, before you start, maybe Ron, just give a really brief overview of how planning the
official plan of East Gwillimbury is developed under the legislation of the Planning Act of Ontario, and that tells us what goes in it. We also have additional direction from the provincial government.
Sorry,
Through the-
I'm sorry. Forgive me for a moment for the background noise. I couldn't hear your comment.
And my answer is
Sorry,
no.
I'm trying.
Unless you would like me to have a look at it, I'm happy to have a look at it. It's not part of a requirement in the province of Ontario to deal with that. But I'm happy to look at it. Deals in it.
All right, so none of what you're doing, because my concern is respecting the rights of landowners, because one thing with official plans and even with the process that we just went through, which was creating sorry, you're gonna forgive me, I'm losing my train of thought right now. My daughter's distracting me. What just passed? The zoning bylaws, rather. That property owners were not directly, that were affected, whose properties would be affected, were never directly contacted. Will that be happening in this process? And it would be my strong recommendation that it does. Because this is a process which right now you're holding a meeting. And the other thing I would very much ask kindly is that you consider making meetings. I'm hoping that this will be aired so that people can catch it off hours, because clearly you've done this during most people's working hours, and even people such as myself. I'm homeschooling right now. It's rather difficult to participate. And these are very important plans that are being put in place. And as you clearly noted, they're for a very long time. And they hold a great deal of weight in what happens. They outline that. And so I would very much ask that in future, greater accessibility in terms of hours and options, and as well as directly contacting properties that become directly affected if there is a change. And I would equally want to see in the plan in general the preservation of rights, particularly for rural and farming landowners. We have some of the only Class 1 and Class 2 farmland in Canada. Canada has about 5% of that, and that is land on which you can grow anything. And it is very concerning to me that in Ontario in general, that has been driven over, and particularly in East Gwillimbury, that has happened with building. There is a lot of land in Ontario. It is very poor planning, in my opinion, to take land that cannot be recovered, cannot in any way, shape, or be reclaimed, and use it to build homes. It is concerning to me because Class 1 land means you have the greatest ability to grow the widest variety of crop for those who are unfamiliar with Class 1 or 2 farmland zoning. You have to have the right soil, the right weather, you have to have flat land. We have all the components needed for that. And it is truly shameful that, in my opinion, to see that taken away.
Okay. So
so I would hope that land that does not fit that is viewed for development.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Yep.
Thank you.
I am just going to clarify that both of the sessions are being recorded and being posted to the project's webpage, so everybody can hear what everybody else has said. And take your point about the time and the dates of future sessions, and that's absolutely something that we can make sure that we have a full range of times for people to participate. Thanks, Paula. So I'm going to go.
Yes, thank you, and I apologize for any.
That's good. Thanks for your thoughts. I'm going to go down. Yep, there's Rosemary. You've got your mic on, and there you go. Paula says off. And then after Rosemary, I've got a Sal, and then a Councillor Crone if you want to say anything. Rosemary.
Yes, good afternoon, Donna and Ron. I just wanted to confirm that as part of your OP review exercise, that you will perhaps revisit lands that may have had previous approvals provided or granted that have not yet been developed.
Okay, with previous approvals through, you mean such as a secondary plan or something, or smaller scale?
Yes, secondary plan, a draft plan,
okay.
That sort of, yeah.
Let me just ask Ron to respond. There you go, Ron.
Our ability to read existing approvals is somewhat limited. Certainly, we can talk about enhancements to existing approvals, but taking away approvals is not something that we would be committed to do in this process.
Any other thoughts, Rosemary?
No, I wasn't actually talking, Ron, about removing previous approvals or rescinding previous approvals. It was actually putting consideration for enhancements or other opportunities.
Okay.
Yes, we can do that. I don't know what specifically you're talking about, but that's fine. But absolutely, we can look at enhancements to existing approvals in consultation with property owners as we go through the process.
Thank you. Those are all my questions.
Thank you. And then next up I have Sal, and then Councillor Crone. And then I have initials SK. And then Tara. And then I have Ted Chong. And Mr. Nguyen. And then Travis is next up, Skeleton. We have a lot of listeners on the call. And then I don't know the first. Okay, just listening. Okay, so I have gone through my whole list of participants and I just open it up to anybody on the call if there's anything you want to go back to, put on the table, any other thoughts on any of the topics that are on the screen. And not seeing anybody turn their mics on. I just want to summarize some of the things that I've heard on the conversation over the last hour or so. That we've heard a lot of comments with respect to infrastructure, the strategic use, the expansion. I've heard conversation about housing, an interest in having flexibility depending on what the market demand is, an interest in housing affordability, what we're doing to accommodate it and address it through the work that we're doing. About historic main streets, and is there opportunity to focus on commercial uses and business uses and maybe less residential on those main streets. On infrastructure that everyone knows, it's been particularly challenging in York Region, an interest in a wider range of housing that goes beyond ground contact. People interested in how we're going to be working with the region through this exercise over the next several months. Is there a way to expedite affordable housing through the work that we're doing? Making sure that we consider all the tools that are available to us to go beyond a numbers-based planning exercise. People expressed interest in making sure we're considering the rights of landowners. I heard interest in making sure that these kind of opportunities to engage are open to everyone who wants to engage, that everybody can hear what everybody else is saying. A concern about protecting Class 1 agricultural lands. And then if there's a way to go back to projects that have got some kind of approval and look at action. I'm just going to ask people, I'm again not seeing this on my list of participants, but just to mute your phone or your audio on the computer. Concerned about if you can go back to those secondary plans and draft plans and look at changing any aspects of them. I do want to say that this is not the only way to share your thoughts, that Adam Robb at the town is the project manager. He's a senior planner. And so if you have any ideas that you want to share, to direct them to him, and he'll make sure that the entire team is made aware of the input. There's a dedicated project page that's set up. You can just Google official plan and you get directed right to that project webpage. So these videos will be posted on that webpage, and we'll also be posting the PowerPoint presentation on its own to that page. I am going to ask Marco if you want to turn your, yep, there you go, Marco.
Hey, Donna.
Any comments in
Good.
closing?
No, yeah, certainly. Thank you. Just again, it's a great turnout. We had a similar turnout this afternoon session as we did earlier in the morning, approximately 40 participants. So it's great input. As Donna mentioned, you know, we're going to have these sessions recorded. They'll be on our OP webpage. And as we move forward with our, you know, our work and our public consultation, there'll be more meetings, evening meetings as well. And we'll post all this information on our website. Adam will handle that. And for those who who perhaps didn't speak during this session, you'll have plenty of opportunities. If you do want to provide something in writing, just send us a letter or an email to Adam, and we'll make sure the team gets it. Moving forward. So again, this is an exciting process, and we have everybody's contacts. So moving forward, we'll be able to invite everybody who attended these sessions, inform you of future meetings that we're going to be holding throughout this project. So again, once again, thanks to everybody, great input, and we'll be seeing you soon.
Okay,
thanks, Donna.
So thank you, everyone. Thank you for tolerating having to use this kind of platform. Again, like I said in the beginning, we all look forward to being able to talk to people face to face again. So I will close the meeting on everyone's behalf. Thank you very much for sharing a little bit of time this afternoon. Thanks, everyone.